All right, I believe we should be live now. Dodgers Dawgs, part of the Dodgers Daily Network. My name is Austin Brubaker. I am excited to be here joining you guys for another live edition of Dodgers Dawgs. Been a minute since we've had the opportunity to do this. A couple things that I want to take a note of. Casey actually just posted a video about 15 or so minutes ago. It is the pinned tweet. There is a link to it in the description, all about Ben Casparius, and we'll be going into some of my thoughts about Ben Casparius as well. If you have not had the chance to do so, which actually, before we got started, the reason why we were a minute or two late is I was watching through the video, taking some notes, or just watching through the video, just reminding myself of the story of Ben Casparius. Highly, highly, highly recommend checking that out, looking and seeing some of the story that he has, not just with some of the pitch mix, not just with what he's going to expect, but also the journey of some of these guys. Ben Casparius has gone through a long journey, and a lot of that is detailed in the hot take that Casey just posted, which is the pinned tweet. This is something that I'm going to talk about quite a bit. Be sure to check out that video, that hot take on Ben Casparius. He is currently with the Dodgers right now. He will be making his Major League debut at any point now, perhaps coming up in a couple of hours when the Dodgers take on the Seattle Mariners. We will see if Ben Casparius does that, but if you haven't done so, go check out that hot take. The link is the pinned tweet, or it is the most recent video here on Dodgers Daily. It's a video that Casey was able to do this week. He's got some personal stuff that he's got to take care of, so I will be joining you guys tonight. Hopefully, we'll be able to get another live show as well. I appreciate your guys' continued support here on Dodgers Daily, and I'm excited to be, as always, joining you guys here. We got some Dodgers baseball to talk through, and it's been a while since I've had the opportunity to talk through Dodgers baseball. We saw Amed Rosario get designated for assignment. I didn't even get a chance to weigh in on that because that happened during the past week and a half or so when I haven't had a chance to go on Dodgers Daily. Other things that happened, you've had the race for the National League West really tighten past couple of games. Thank you to the Tampa Bay Rays. The Dodgers have been able to get at least a decent lead, still up 3 games from San Diego, 4 games from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Still a very close competition. There's a lot to discuss in the world of Dodgers baseball. We will be diving into all of it. Most of this show, however, is going to be dedicated to you guys as a Q&A. We'll be talking about topics that you want to discuss. One thing I do want to note, as it says in the notes today, as far as the title of this video, it does appear that Max Muncy and Tommy Edman will be activated today. Based on a lot of the reports, I don't believe the news is official yet. However, with some of the reporting from Fabian Ardaya and some others have noted that obviously Muncy and Edman are at Dodger Stadium. They're anticipating them being activated. It does appear like the Dodgers have made their decision based off of the individuals who are clearing out their roster right now. It does appear that Nick Ahmed and Andy Pages won't be with the Dodgers right now. Nick Ahmed, I think, was probably the obvious choice. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of anger and backlash for the Dodgers move when they decided to designate for assignment Amed Rosario and keep Nick Ahmed. And I actually kind of understood that decision if the Dodgers did not envision a role for Amed Rosario going forward on this team, because I don't believe that the Dodgers were wanting to have Miguel Rojas play shortstop every single day until Tommy Edman came back, which I believe would have been the plan going forward. Obviously, you could have thrown maybe Kike Hernandez, maybe Mookie Betts back at shortstop, but then it would have been a little bit more of a question mark. I think they just cut their ties loose. Nick Ahmed did a fine job, did a solid job. He played a decent shortstop for the Dodgers during the role that he had. It just wasn't a long-term need. It was a short-term basis for him being on this Dodgers team. Wish him nothing but the best. He's had a long major league career, and I hope he's able to continue that. The big news, however, with this is the Dodgers deciding to send back, apparently, and this is, I don't believe the roster move is official yet. I believe Pages is going back to Oklahoma City. It was seen or reported by Fabian Ardaya. Nick Ahmed's locker was cleared out, and Andy Pages was packing up his locker today, which leads to a lot of speculation that he's very likely going to be going back to Oklahoma City. For me, this one is a little bit tougher as far as the news, and I think for every Dodgers fan, it is tougher. Andy Pages has been having a good stretch as of recent at the plate. He is a really good, solid hitter, and the Dodgers, got to give the Dodgers credit. They did give Andy Pages a long run at the major league level this season, and I certainly don't believe that this is the last long run of Andy Pages' career in a Dodgers uniform. He is a really solid player. You can see the tools are absolutely there. The power is there. You saw the cannon out right field when he made that throw not too long ago. It has been a struggle for him defensively in center field. I don't think there's any sort of doubt about that. And when the Dodgers decided to bring in Kevin Kiermaier, I think that was a clear indication that they were concerned about him and his defense out in center field, or at least upgrading defense. Defense has been a focus for the Dodgers during this entire trade deadline type season. It's a reason why they brought over a player like a Tommy Edman, who is a unbelievable defender, which Dodger fans are going to have the opportunity to see a little bit later, and they get to go back and forth and be able to see him move around different positions as needed. He can fill in at shortstop, which I think it makes sense now that you have a Tommy Edman, that you don't need a Nick Ahmed, because you'll be able to cover those innings that Miguel Rojas doesn't fill in, with Tommy Edman playing some shortstop as well. I think that'd be totally fine, and I don't believe that you'd have to worry about the defense, and I think there's a little bit better upside with Tommy Edman at shortstop. In the outfield, I think it came down to a decision right now between Kevin Kiermaier, who you can trust to play center field right now, which is something that I think with the Dodgers, that he's probably the only one that they feel really comfortable with playing center field defense, which, got to give him credit, he's one of the best defensive center fielders of the past decade or so. And he's hit a little bit during his time with the Dodgers. I think that's something that's incredibly important to note. With Mookie Betts going out to right field, that really crowded the opportunities for Andy Pages with some of his defensive limitations in center field right now. So then I think the question was down to Andy Pages or moving on from Jason Hayward. Now, one thing to note is rosters will be expanding coming up. I believe at the 1st of September, there's rosters expanded from 26 to 28 coming up in a couple of weeks, less than 2 weeks or so. I don't think Andy Pages is going to be down in Oklahoma City too terribly long, although Chris Taylor is rehabbing as well, so that could present a complicating factor with this. The Dodgers do have a tendency of relying on a lot of their veteran players. If it was up to me, I would have Andy Pages on this Dodgers team. I want him to get as much experience as he possibly can, and I think he can mash against left-handed pitching. And even if it's something where you want to do a defensive, let's say that you started Andy Pages, the only place that he's going to be able to start on a postseason roster is in center field. You can get him in there for a couple of innings, put Kevin Kiermaier out there, or you can have him as a pinch hitter off the bench going up against left-handed hitters. Right now, the Dodgers made this move as a kind of stall/delay the decision based off of what they're going to do with Jason Hayward, who they have invested in, and he has proven to be a great clubhouse guy. Are they going to choose him over an Andy Pages, or choose a CT3 Chris Taylor over an Andy Pages? I think history probably says yes, especially with right field being locked down by Mookie Betts, which it's great to have Mookie Betts out there, great to have him healthy. It is extremely unfortunate, and I wish the Dodgers would provide a lot of their younger guys with experience, with necessary deep season experience in order to grow, especially with him who he's hitting really well right now. So I was a little bit disappointed in that decision. However, given the situation where the Dodgers are at, and also knowing that it's probably not a long-term thing for Pages this season unless they just decide to stall and then just add Chris Taylor, be part of that 28-man roster once September hits. The Dodgers have some interesting decisions to make, and I would have preferred them to stick with an Andy Pages. The Dodgers didn't decide to do that. Jason Hayward survives another day. Kevin Kiermaier, who has been really solid during his time with the Dodgers, survives another day. We will move forward, and I will support this organization. Another quick note as well. Austin Barnes, I believe, had some type of fracture or something. He had some sort of heavy wrap, it looks like, on his left toe. He, I believe, is going to be going on the injured list as well. Hunter Feduccia is going to be making the call up back to the big leagues. So he will be the backup catcher. No, it's not Dalton Rushing that's making the backup catcher quite yet, although he's been hitting really well in Oklahoma City. Hunter Feduccia is going to be getting these opportunities. I want Dalton Rushing to be giving every single opportunity to be able to thrive, be able to get experience in left field. I couldn't be more excited about the future for Dalton Rushing, but you also have Hunter Feduccia, who has been ready for a long time for this opportunity, got into a big league game, but hasn't been given consistent run time. With Hunter Feduccia, he's going to be filling in the exact same role as in Austin Barnes. He's going to be the backup catcher for this team until Austin Barnes is ready to come back, whenever that is. I have no idea what the time frame would be on that. With Hunter Feduccia, I believe he just plays catcher exclusively. That's what he's been at the minor league level, which creates a little bit of a roadblock because you would prefer to have a little bit positional versatility, particularly right now with everything going on with Freddie Freeman at first base. You would prefer to have a little bit of flexibility there. He's going to be backup catcher right now. He's going to get his roles. He's going to get a little bit of opportunity to be able to play. I'm excited for Hunter Feduccia to be able to get that opportunity. It's been a long time coming for him. Similar to a guy, Ben Casparius. This is something I started off this show with, which we'll get into the comments section right after I talk about this. Ben Casparius is on the Dodgers 26-man roster, and actually Casey just released a hot take on Ben Casparius about 15 or so minutes before we went live. That link is pinned to the comments right now. That is the link that is right there. Be sure to go check that out. I think Ben Casparius has a great story. It's something I'll dive into in a little bit about grit, about determination, and about consistency. Is something that he has gone over, and with him, his journey wasn't linear, and there was a lot of struggles during his minor league career. He has fought and he has overcome them, and the talent that he has, especially on that slider, it's legit. It's a really good pitch. And Ben Casparius, I couldn't be more excited for him, for his family, for UConn, for everybody related to Ben Casparius, and for this Dodgers organization as well. So go check out that hot take. Must-watch content right there, especially before this game, because tonight could be the big league debut of Ben Casparius. We'll have to wait and see. But you guys have been patiently waiting in the comment section. Couldn't be more excited to be joined by you guys. If you guys have thoughts on the moves that the Dodgers have made, do you like the moves? Do you wish the Dodgers would have kept Nick Ahmed? Do you wish they would have kept Andy Pages on this roster? What are you looking forward to about the debut of Ben Casparius? And where are you guys at with this Dodgers team right now? It's been a bit of a roller coaster as the baseball season is, and there's ups and downs, and there's been times when, especially this division race right now, it's getting tight, it's getting packed, and there's a lot of concern about this Dodgers team. Dodgers are still one of the best teams record-wise in baseball, and they still have guys that are coming back. They seem to be getting a bit more healthy. Doesn't mean there aren't concerns or new concerns, as there seems to always be with this pitching staff. But with this Dodgers team, they still seem to have a good group of guys. Where are you guys at with this Dodgers team? Be sure to let me know in the comment section, as I'll get into the comments right now. Orlando, thank you very much for joining us. Ready for Muncy and Edman to come online. I'm ready for that too. Let's just say, it's been a struggle at third base for the Dodgers, and I'm sure in their minds, which they seem to usually underestimate how long it's going to be for guys to come back. We've seen a lot of stopgaps at third base. We went through Kevin Biggio taking over at third base. We've seen a lot of Kike Hernandez being there at third base. Now we get the stable veteran presence that has consistently put up well above average results, and that is Max Muncy. Can be a little bit frustrating. I know early in the season before the injury, Dodgers fans were frustrated with Max Muncy at times, a little bit too much boom or bust. However, over the long-term course of a season, I think he provides an insane amount of value, and I think the Dodgers realize that. He also has a team-friendly contract that he's currently under. He's going to walk a lot. He's going to hit for some power. The strikeouts, even though we say they're high, they're still less than 30% at around 27-ish% for Max Muncy. I think he's a really solid ball player. He's an absolute instrumental piece to this Dodgers team. Similarly, Tommy Edman, I think, is going to be an absolutely important piece for this Dodgers team this season, during this postseason run, and of course next season, which he is under contract with. This is a guy the Dodgers have targeted for quite a while. It might not always be the prettiest offensively, although it's not the swing and miss type of stuff. It's a little bit more bat on ball, a little bit more consistent, put the ball in play. He does have a little bit of power to add to it as well. Right around league average hitter, can steal some bases. I think he's an ideal table setter slash bottom of the order type of bat to help turn the lineup over to Shohei Ohtani, to Mookie Betts, to Freddie Freeman, and to this juggernaut of a lineup. If you can have guys that can be consistent like that, I see a lot of upside in that, and there's a lot of peripherals that are really intriguing, in addition to his Gold Glove caliber defense, which he can play just about anywhere. He is the ultimate glue guy to this team, and I think he's going to show that, and he is the next super utility type player to be added to this Dodgers team, which you want to have those consistent, rock-solid players that are going to be there every day. Doesn't always work out like that they're always going to be healthy. Tommy Edman's going to make sure that they have somebody that's going to be a force, or that's going to be rock-solid with everything that he does. And he was a 5-WAR, 4-5, 3-WAR player. He's consistently well above average and consistently puts up great WAR numbers. I think Tommy Edman, Dodgers fans are going to get their first glimpse of him during the series against the Seattle Mariners. We'll get to see who the Dodgers had targeted during the trade deadline. Dodger Blue 82, thank you very much for joining us. Hey Austin, just seeing that Casey post of Ben Casparius. Excited to see what he brings. I'm excited to see what Ben Casparius is going to be able to bring for the Dodgers. I know he worked his butt off at the minor league level, and there was stretches, there were seasons, especially. I remember, because I'm here in the state of located in the great state of Michigan, where I get access to the high A affiliate of the Dodgers, the Great Lakes Loons. I remember his time in Great Lakes very well. His first season that he had, which was 2022, he struggled most of the season. He was a starter, started most of the games that he had, or at least half of his games. He was piggyback type starter. Put up some pretty high ERAs. You could tell the stuff was really solid, yet it kept getting hit and hit. Turned the corner over from 2022 to 2023. He looked like a different pitcher. He was able to refine his mix and was able to really establish what he wanted to do in the strike zone, was able to learn how to adapt to hitters better. And he actually talks about that during the video that Casey posted, which is pinned to the top of the chat right there. He talks about the difficulty of going from Rancho to Great Lakes. Oftentimes we talk about the difficult jump from high A to double A. Each one of these stops is incredibly difficult, and especially for young pitchers who are really trying to learn to establish their pitch mix, learn to establish what they're going to do on the mound. Ben Casparius was able to find that, and he was able to put the pieces together during his 8 starts in 2023 with Great Lakes, 2.68 ERA. He was striking out 10.7 batters per 9, so that's about close to a 30% strikeout percentage. And then he moved up to the Double-A level. Was a little bit of a struggle again for him. He was able to rebound this season and 2024. So I just want to give you some numbers for this, a little bit of context as far as ERA, because this is something that I want you guys to keep in mind with Ben Casparius, because he's a fighter and he's an adapter, and I believe he's going to adapt to the major league level if given the proper run time. So during his 18 games, this is 60 innings with High A Great Lakes in 2022, it was a 6.45 ERA. Definitely not pretty. Turn the calendar over to 2023. During his 8 starts, 37 innings pitched with Great Lakes the next season, put up a 2.68 ERA. 2023, he gets bumped up to mid-season to Double-A Tulsa, similar kind of time frame to when he got bumped up from Rancho to Great Lakes. He struggled during his 18 appearances, about 70 innings, with a 6.62 ERA in Tulsa. Again, another adjustment that he had to make at the level. However, during his 5 starts with Double-A Tulsa this season, 21 innings, 3.32 ERA, gets bumped up to Oklahoma City after he was able to make the proper adjustments in Tulsa, and he's put up a 3.54 and one of the most hitter-friendly leagues out there in the Pacific Coast League. Ben Casparius has been able to figure things out. His pitch mix has been more refined. He talks about that in the video, that the hot take that Casey posted. Be sure to go check that out. I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring. Going to be one of those long inning, piggyback-ish type of starters when the Dodgers are needing him to be so, which should happen hopefully within the next couple of days. This role is a continuation of the role like a Ryan Yarbrough or a Brent Honeywell, who was designated for assignment recently. Ben Casparius is going to be taking over that type of role, which I believe is a good role for him to have, and a good role for a lot of these younger guys to have. If you're not going to find different ways to put them into the rotation, if you're not going to be able to find, especially with the rotation as it is right now, and if you want to find different ways to relieve some of the pressure out of the bullpen, have a guy or two that can be a piggyback type starter or bulk inning type reliever that can take the mound to get all these good chunks of innings. Ben Casparius is going to get major league experience. He's going to be considered forever a Major League Baseball player once he gets in. He's going to be making major league salary. This is life-changing for him, and I couldn't be more excited for him and excited to see what he's going to be able to bring. Showtime LA, thank you so very much for joining us. Hey, Austin, DePaula seems to be getting in a groove, 4 hits in his last 3 games. Some sites have him as a top 20 prospect, untouchable, might offer. I'm excited for Josue DePaula. Get a chance to see him later this week. I've seen him a couple of different times with Great Lakes. We'll be actually during the next 3 weeks or so and the final stretch of the regular season be going to quite a bit games. I'll be there Thursday, Friday, and part of the game on Saturday. So I'll be get a chance to see him a little bit more. Yeah, he definitely is doing really solid. Still finding his groove a little bit at the high A level. He's right around a league average-ish hitter. He still walks a ton. It's about the consistency. You can see in some of the batted ball data that he has. And just watching him hit the ball, especially the opposite field. He's got a really solid and high velo opposite field. Still a little bit of more low ground balls, which is going to limit some of the upside that he has if he can tap into that power, which is why all these prospect lists are super excited about him. He's got the exit velos and he's got all of the different numbers to showcase that he can be a top line prospect. With Josue, if he continues to work on that, if he continues to hustle, if he continues to grind and not take anything for granted, I think he's going to be an absolutely insane prospect. Yeah, I'm super excited about him, and I'm glad that he's getting a lot of recognition across the league. I think there's a lot of guys within the system that deserve that recognition, and they're starting to get some. Talked about it early during the season before a lot of the list had him up there. Alex Freeland was a guy that we identified really early this season as having a ton of success, and we got super excited about him and reminded you guys about that. There are a lot of guys in this system who have upside and who break out during the course of the season. Don't rely solely on the list, although I'm glad Josue DePaula is getting that much needed recognition. Craig Osterberg, thank you very much for joining us. Sammy Boy Smith, I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Can Feduccia play first base? I don't believe that he has during the course of his minor league career, so I would not rely on Hunter Feduccia to play first base. Those roles, if you needed to give Freddie Freeman some days off over the next couple of days, could come from Max Muncy, maybe. They could come from, I'm not sure who exactly else would be able to fill those roles. Maybe Tommy Edman, he can play just about anywhere, Gold Glove style defense. Or you can find somebody to play first base, perhaps move Will Smith over there for a game or two. You can find somebody to play first base for this team. Hunter Feduccia, I don't believe their plan is going to have him play first base. I think it's plan to have him be the backup catcher, similar to the role that Austin Barnes had for this team. Although, we'll have to wait and see what happens, as I always say. Showtime LA, when are Vargas and Morales going to get the call to Rancho? I don't have any inside information on that. It depends. It is wrapping up, I will say, towards the end of the schedule for both Rancho and Great Lakes. I believe Tulsa gets an extra week after this, but it's the final 3 weeks. So if they wanted to take a look at them during the final 3 weeks, perhaps that could be the case. Otherwise, they could wait until the 2025 season in order to get a look at that. They have a lot of guys. They are playing well. Rancho's right in the midst of a playoff push. So if you are in the California area, the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes need your support in order to help push them across the finish line to reach the playoffs. I believe they were, last time I checked, which was a couple of days ago, up 2 games or so in the California League South Division. Go out and cheer for Rancho Cucamonga. Those guys could get the call up sometime soon. It is towards the end of the season, and I don't know if they're going to make any drastic moves to their roster during this postseason stretch, unless there's been some shakeup at the top of the minor league system because of the call-ups of Muncy and Edman, although I don't expect major shakeups within this Dodgers organization over the next couple of weeks. Just my guess, not any inside information that I have. Let's see. Paul C. says Rosario is greater than Ahmed. I think I've been vocal about me not being the biggest fan of Ahmed Rosario, just based off of the profile of the type of player. I think it screams regression, and especially because he doesn't bring a lot of value defensively. I wasn't too surprised. I was surprised by the quickness that it happened, getting 11 at-bats with the Dodgers after they traded for him specifically at the trade deadline and then moving on. I figured it would be a little bit of a stopgap, and maybe they would give him a role during this postseason roster. I didn't anticipate it to be that quick. I think it happened because of the defensive limitations that Ahmed Rosario, I don't think they had a long-term future for him on this Dodgers team. Once they got news that Muncy and Edman were coming back and they were healthy, with both of them, with Ahmed Rosario and Nick Ahmed, the two Ahmeds, I don't think either of them were the long-term fix for the future. I think they prioritize having Miguel Rojas get a little bit of rest defensively at shortstop. That's why they made that move. Both of them aren't part of the Dodgers' long-term or playoff future, and so they're going to find some other organization to help. Ahmed Rosario, I believe, is going to Cincinnati, so hopefully he has some success out in Cincinnati, and we'll see him after the trade deadline next season. Same boy Smith, just reiterating Barnes out too. Just getting caught up with some of the comments section as well. If you guys have any thoughts or questions down in the comments, be sure to let me know. Baseball channel, thank you very much for joining us. Paul C. Pages was a solid rookie. He will be back. I believe that he's going to be back at some point too. And as Craig Osterberg said, Pages has options. He would not play now. He needs his at-bats. That could be another thing if the Dodgers were just going to, and this is something that I complained about quite a bit with Miguel Vargas earlier this season. Miguel Vargas wasn't getting consistent at-bats. They would call him up, and then he'd sit on the bench and play maybe 1 to 2 times a week. I don't think that is fair to do that to Andy Pages, to have him be up and only play him 1 to 2 times per week. If that was the only thing that they were going to do, makes total sense why they would send him down to Oklahoma City. If that was the case, I still like Andy Pages as part of this Dodgers team, and I think he can provide a lot of value. And I think there's a lot of value that comes from getting some of that playoff experience for some of these younger guys. I get it. You want to make sure that you have the best roster available. But making that decision, let's say that it comes down to a decision of Andy Pages versus a Jason Hayward. Right now, I'd rather have Andy Pages with the Dodgers. That is my personal opinion. Perhaps you have a different opinion. And I think there would be a lot of value with, even if Andy Pages is just a bat that can come off the bench during a moment against a left-handed pitcher. Perhaps that's the only role that they could envision him having. I think even getting him that playoff experience, because we've seen a lot of upside with Pages coming up through the system in big time moments. I think that clutch factor is inside of Pages, and I think they could really utilize that. And I love to see get some more experience in some of those big time moments. He does have options. That's the easy thing to do for the Dodgers, and he also needs consistent regular at bats. Right now, I don't believe the Dodgers are comfortable with his defense really at all in center field. They have Kevin Kiermaier. They have Tommy Edman that they can play out in center field. I think they feel comfortable with that rotation, which really limits the ability for Andy Pages to get any playing time with Teoscar Hernandez in left and with Mookie Betts in right field. I think Mookie Betts going to right field was probably the correct decision, but that eliminated the opportunity for Andy Pages to get consistent playing time, which really sucks for him. And I hope that he gets opportunities going forward. I think he's going to be part of this Dodgers team for a long time. It's going to be a little bit, though, for Pages right now, and today certainly is not an exciting day for him, but it is an exciting day for the Dodgers as they get Tommy Edman and Max Muncy going back up to the Dodgers. Alex the God, too, thank you very much for joining us tonight here. Just going through some of the comments right now. They're just talking through some of the different transactions right now. Mr. Summer, thank you very much for joining us. The Seattle has announced their lineup. The Dodgers have not. I don't know if that has changed during the course of the time that we've been talking through this. Been here live with you guys. Dodgers Dawgs, part of the Dodgers Daily Network. I can go ahead and check to see if the Dodgers have posted their lineup really quick. I don't believe that they have, though. I'll let you know if something changes really quick. I will give some news right now. Fabian Ardaya just made a statement. Dave Roberts said Freddie Freeman will play through a hairline fracture in his right middle finger. Will be about pain tolerance per Roberts. He's in there tonight, I believe, referring to Freddie Freeman being in the starting lineup. So Freddie Freeman will be starting for the Dodgers. Do you believe that that is the correct decision, or would you have preferred him to get some additional rest for we're dealing with a hairline fracture in his middle finger? That is something that you guys can have your own opinion about that. I'm not seeing the Dodgers lineup immediately jumping out, although I believe Freddie Freeman is part of the Dodgers lineup right now, dealing with a hairline fracture in his right middle finger. That is the latest news that I have right now. Let's see. Let's go back into some of the comments right now. Just trying to get caught up with some of the chat. Let's see. Thank you very much for joining us. Flat Life. They emphasize spin rate and velo on Casparius. Let's see. Alex God. Pies is smashing lefties. 337, 383, 488. And then versus righties, it's a little bit of a drop-off. 217, 280, 357. I'm glad that they started him a lot versus righties and lefties. I think it's important for especially younger guys to get a lot of those consistent at-bats versus righties and lefties. Even if you do see a good split difference, you can utilize those during advantageous postseason type moments and take advantage of those splits. But I'm glad that they were able to give Pages consistent run time against both types of pitchers. But yeah, there definitely was a split between the two. Yes, as Crazy Ogersberg said, Ben Casparius has 4 or 5 pitches according to the video, which is linked at the top of the chat. Casey was able to post a video, Ben Casparius, hot take on what to expect for him. Be sure to check that out. Ben Casparius, really excited. 4-seam, also throws a little bit of a 2-seam as well. He's got the slider, which is going to be the big pitch, and he's got the changeup along with a couple of other pitches that he throws in there as well. Let's see, continuing on with the conversation, Big Ben has to limit some of the walks. With Ben Casparius, that's going to be a big thing. It's also important, and this is part of the point that when I was talking about the numbers that Ben Casparius had through his minor league journey. Be patient with him. I know it's easy to jump to conclusions, and first impressions seem to be everything for a lot of situations, especially for players that come on to the Dodgers. Be patient with Ben. Allow him to make the adjustments that he needs to. It probably won't be perfect right away, although there's a lot of reason to be excited. He's got some solid velo. His spin rate is really ridiculous on that slider. It is his pitch that he can staple, and he's got some other pitch mix that he's working with as well. Be patient with him. Flat Life. Hopefully Chris Campos can get the call up this year. The local boy from Montebello. Chris Campos. I was surprised, but given the results that he had with Great Lakes this season, not surprised at all that he got the move up to Tulsa when he did, and he's just gone out there and succeeded just consistently this season. I think it's a little bit of a long shot to say that he gets the call up, and actually I don't know good question is to see when he is Rule 5 eligible. Chris Campos was part of the Dodgers organization, right-handed pitcher right now currently with the Tulsa Drillers. He is Rule 5 eligible during December 2025. So not this offseason, but the following offseason. So if he continues to have the success that he has, perhaps you could see him getting the Ben Casparius treatment like Ben Casparius is right now. One of the reasons why Ben Casparius was added to this Dodgers team and his contract was selected is the Rule 5 draft coming up after the season. He would have been eligible for that, which is something that Casey outlines, and they want to make sure that he is protected. Perhaps you could see similar thing with Chris Campos next season, who's had a lot of success for the Dodgers organization this year. Just looking at his numbers again, for Great Lakes, he had a 3.15 ERA, 3.70 FIP, 3.14 expected FIP. He was striking out about 27, but walking about 5.5% of hitters. With Tulsa, he went from a 3.15 ERA to a 3.19 ERA. That's pretty good. FIP and xFIP about 4.4, 4.12. Chris Campos is going out there and doing his thing and pitching really well. Really excited for him to have the success that he's currently have, and you could be seeing him part of this Dodgers team in a little bit. Let's see. They did not put, thank you for joining us. I actually don't know how to pronounce that username, but 77, they did not put Freddie on the IL. He is playing through a hairline fracture of his middle finger, and I believe he's in the lineup tonight, which I don't believe has been posted yet, or at least wasn't a couple minutes ago when I checked on X, on Twitter. let's see. Chris Osterberg, Ahmed, since he hasn't hit, would be a logical choice to go, which he was. Alex DeGod, a little surprised with Pages, thinks he is more valuable than Hayward, but like you said, Pages will he will be back September 1st. Let's see. Again, more concern about Freddie's middle finger. Flat Life, they should be looking at Karros to spot start this year. I believe Jared actually has been dealing with an injury, and I don't know if he's I don't think he's made any recent starts with Tulsa. This happened maybe about June or so. First off, Jared Karros was unbelievable with Great Lakes this season. You look at his pitch ability, which is really what he has. He also got that hammer curveball, which just dives down, and it's legit. Jared Karros was pitching incredibly well for Great Lakes. Got to call up to Tulsa, had a rough first start, but then was starting to figure things out. I don't believe that he had. I don't believe he's made any starts recently with Tulsa, which he only has 5 outings with Tulsa this season. So I believe he's battling through some sort of injury. I don't have any details as far as what that is, and I'm a little bit more connected with the Great Lakes once I get the call up to Tulsa. I'm not as connected. I just don't have as many contacts with Tulsa. But with him, another one of those guys, Rule 5 eligible, December 2025. So after next season, you could be seeing Jared Karros get the Ben Casparius treatment next offseason, which if he comes back next season, assuming that he doesn't pitch this season, which he could come back, I don't have any inside information about that. If he comes back next season and pitches anywhere near as close as he did with Great Lakes, you will be seeing Jared Karros in a Dodgers uniform. There's no doubt about that. Christopher Navarro, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for the compliment. Doing a great job flying solo tonight. Yeah, I'm excited to be here, and you guys are helping me out with this, with your comments, which I'm trying to get caught up on this. I appreciate your patience with me getting caught back up with this. Krigos, let's just going through some of these comments right now. They think that will need to happen, make a 40-man roster move to make that happen, in response to either Karros or Chris Campos being able to be called up. Same Boy Smith, Jays are definitely trading Bo this winter. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting conversation for this Dodgers team, and we'll dive into this a little bit more as we get closer to the offseason as far as the Dodgers' future at shortstop. They'll have a couple of different options. You can continue to go if you wanted to. I believe there's a club option maybe with the Miguel Rojas. Continue to pick that up and go with a Tommy Edman, Miguel Rojas mix right there. You could try to do a Mookie Betts back at shortstop or a Gavin Lux at shortstop. You do have an Alex Freeland that is coming up through the minor leagues, although I don't know if he'll be ready at the start of the 2025 season, nor do I know if the Dodgers want to hand him the mantle immediately following the season when he won't have as much experience at the AAA level. You do have a couple of guys that will be free agents during the offseason that could be options, like a Willie Adames or a Ha-Sung Kim, or you could go after a trade target like a Bo Bichette. Definitely going to be a conversation piece for the offseason, which we will get to that in a little bit. Showtime LA, I think it might be a lost year for Bobby Miller. Just doesn't seem to have his command this year. Yeah, it's been disappointing for Bobby. He's got all the tools. He's got all the skills in the world. I don't know what exactly is going on. I don't know if he's fighting through some sort of injury. It's just not clicking this year, and I think that's evident for the Dodgers. Right now, they still have him part on this roster to fill some innings right now. Tyler Glasnow, I believe, is on the injured list for this team right now. I don't believe it's anything serious, although you have to take that with a little bit of knowledge that sometimes these non-serious things can explode for this Dodgers team. I don't think the Dodgers, with the way that he is pitching, envision him being part of this postseason roster, which is what we're trying to figure out right now. Where are these Dodgers arms, and where is this Dodgers roster, and who's going to be part of the equation when we come to the postseason? Right now, Bobby Miller isn't pitching like he's going to be a postseason pitcher. He isn't even really pitching like he is a major league caliber pitcher right now, and it's really disappointing. I still believe in Bobby Miller, still believe that he's going to find something, and I believe that he has all the tools in the world to be a superstar pitcher. It's just not clicking this year, and I think the Dodgers recognize that, and they'll fill some innings, but if it doesn't drastically improve, I don't think they're going to rely on him during the postseason unless absolutely necessary. Need a little bit of a drink. There's a lot of talking to do. Dodgers Dawgs, part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Talking a little bit back and forth. Max Muncy at third base would think he needs reps. That's where he will be in the postseason. That's a really good point. I think Max Muncy needs to get the reps at third base. He was making incredible strides early this season, and he was starting to be at least a league average defender at third base to slightly above league average defender at third base. And that just with his offensive skills, if he can provide league average defense at third base, that's a game changer for Max Muncy, because we've been used to a little bit below to pretty below league average defense for Max Muncy. I think the more reps that he can get where he's going to need to be for the postseason is probably the better. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Alex, let's see. Continuing at this rate, they're going to need to bring out more pitchers up. I think that's a fair point to make, although a lot of relief pitchers are starting to come back. We're seeing more guys continue to rehab, and there's going to be a roster crunch with some of this team as far as who they're going to keep for the postseason, who's going to be part of this team going forward. It's definitely not an easy calculation for this Dodgers team to be able to figure out, but they want to make sure that all their guys, or as many of their guys on this roster, are as healthy as possible. Just continuing to talk through the conversation, Josue needs some work on defense. Yeah, I would agree with that. Spending a lot of time in left field, a little bit in right field with Great Lakes. He's been decent enough out there. He's not going to blow you away with his defense out there. His skill set is going to come from his bat, his ability to draw consistent walks, and hopefully his bat-to-ball skills and his ability to find power. He's got the moxie of a big leaguer already. It's about refining these skills and making him into the best quality player that he can. Jose DePaul is not going to be a part of this Dodgers team this season. He still needs plenty of work in order to get him to that level. But it's still really exciting to see him continue to grow the way that he is. Same Boy Smith. I was thinking of Rushing playing first base. Rushing has played a lot of first base during the course of the season. Right now, with I think Freddie Freeman, as was stated by some reporting that was done from some Dodgers beat writers, I believe he's going to be part of this Dodgers lineup tonight. And he's going to continue to go out there and play first base, fight through this. If needed to, Rushing could be an option, but I think that's only if they don't envision Freddie Freeman coming back, or they need him if he's going to be out for significant periods of time, because I think they want to give Dalton Rushing significant periods of time to be able to play consistently down at Oklahoma City, continue to get adjusted to higher level pitching, and get him a lot of experience in left field, which could be one of the paths for him to make it to the big leagues, because Dalton Rushing, I believe, is going to be a Dodger very, very soon. Let's continue to talk and get through some of these comments, as I'm getting pretty close to being caught up. Been going to a lot of home and away games for the Quakes this Flatlight. I actually really appreciate that. I go to a lot of home games in beautiful Dow Diamond for Great Lakes, but I started out with this obsession with the Loons by going to a lot of away games, going to West Michigan, going to Lansing, going to South Bend, which I'll be at next week, probably at good majority of those games. Excited to see the great people out in South Bend. They got a really great staff and a lot of good people there. Going to Fort Wayne, there needs to be a lot of these people rooting on our kids, and yeah, there needs to be a lot of people rooting on these guys, and there needs to be an establishment of the Dodger culture early in their career. And I think going to these games, being there and cheering on these guys and showing that, yeah, if you're part of this Dodgers organization, that's a big deal and that means something. And also to show that, hey, we're going to fight with you when you're going on an 0 for 30 stretch. We're going to go out there and continue to cheer you on. And no, that was something that I should say that Dalton Rushing went through last season. An 0 for 25, 0 for 30 type stretch that he went through during the middle of the season. Continue to fight, continue to cheer on the guys, and I think it makes a huge... I know it makes a big difference for these guys and on their big league careers. So, excited for that. Thoughts on Quintero struggling so far, just batting 146 at Rancho. I really like the offensive upside, especially the power. I've been hearing a lot about him. I haven't had the chance to watch him a whole lot, so I will reserve some of my judgment for Quintero. Still needs some work, but there's a lot of people that are excited about him. And I think I think there's going to be you're going to hear about him quite a bit. And if you want a chance to see him in person play, go check out the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes in person for over the next 3 weeks. Kristen Rivaro just asking about different hotels. Yeah, go ahead and check out that. Player, you're doing great, Austin. Hit the like button, everybody. Great reminder, go ahead and hit the like button if you have not done so. I really would appreciate that. Continue to help grow, help support this channel. Same Boy Smith, just talking a little bit about Miguel Vargas, who's struggling quite a bit for the Chicago White Sox right now. It is a little bit of adjustment that you have to make when you go over to a new city. White Sox have the opportunity and will give him consistent run time. It is about him being able to find his role and find his groove with the Chicago White Sox. I hope that the change of scenery, I hope that he sees it as an opportunity. I haven't been able to follow along with Miguel Vargas too closely, but I wish him nothing but the success going forward. And I think that he will find something for the White Sox and will continue to be a fan of Miguel Vargas, dating back to his time in Great Lakes. Always been a huge fan of his. Colossal Jaguar, thank you very much for joining us. Is Jason Hayward done with the Dodgers? I don't believe so. I believe with the moves that they have made right now, unless something has broken within the last couple of minutes, he is still part of this Dodgers team. It was Nick Ahmed I believe, will be designated for assignment, and I believe it's Andy Pages who will be sent down to Oklahoma City to clear up the roster spots for Max Muncy and Tommy Edman. Jason Hayward will survive and continue to be on this roster and continue to have the opportunity to prove himself and establish a role for him for the Dodgers team, and for him to continue to be a part of this equation and potentially a postseason participant. I hope that he isn't already granted that postseason roster spot. I hope that the Dodgers force every single player to earn that postseason roster spot, and they bring the best 26 men with them into October. With them, they seem to have a reliance or a tendency to go with the veteran, get veteran bat in those types of cases, which you could see in the case of Jason Hayward. They could make the argument that they could make a little bit of a different decision, especially with an extra roster spot, 2 roster spots opening up on September 1st, beginning of September. We'll have to wait and see, though. Same Roy Smith, just keep running Vargas out there every day. He'll catch eventually. He'll find a way to catch up eventually. Alex Pages only got 16 games at AAA before getting the call up, so he may need more time to fine-tune against righties. Yeah, it's important to remember that he spent he had 1 game at Oklahoma City last season when he got injured and missed significant portions of 2023. And then he caught fire early in the season and during spring training, and the Dodgers decided to call him up very early in the season. Doesn't have a ton of experience at the AAA level. I think this could be a good opportunity for him to get back out there and continue to find his groove against righties. He's an incredibly impressive player who has a ton of skill sets, and I think he's going to find his way to hit better against right-handed pitchers, I should say. Paul C, wow, pretty impressive. Freddie's showing heart. Yeah, Freddie Freeman wants to be there. Missed some time earlier this season with some family circumstances, but with Freddie Freeman, he wants to be there. He has a heart for the game of baseball, and he wants to be there, go out there and give every single thing that he has each and every single day for this Dodgers team. He wants to be there, play 162 games this season, plus every single one of the postseason games, if at all possible. He's going to do everything he can to fight out there, and right now the Dodgers are giving him the ability to go out there. Whether you think they should hold him back and restrain him and let him heal and recover, I don't have any details as far as the extent of the injury or how serious the hairline fracture is, but they're allowing him to go out there and continue to play, and he wants to play, and I think that could light a fire in this Dodgers team. So we'll see if that does. Let's see, Christopher Navarro, I hope Muncy doesn't get gun shy at first base if he plays there. Last time he was there, he almost got his arm torn off. Yeah, that could be something that to keep an eye out for with that. He also mentions on September 1st, they add 2 players. Can they be both pitchers or one position player and one pitcher? I believe it is one position player and one pitcher. So 14 pitchers and 14 position player. Max 14 pitchers, I believe is what Alex said later down in the comments right now. Flat Life, I also can't wait for Nick Frasso, who's been injured all season, but a really high talented player. Ronan Kopp, who I'm really excited about, who's actually, if you look at some of the numbers for Ronan Kopp recently, he's starting to turn things around quite a bit. Ronan Kopp is, and Chris Campos, all pitchers that are at either Tulsa or Oklahoma City, with Frasso, who's recovering from injury. Ronan Kopp's going to be coming out of the bullpen, left-handed arm, and since he has found his groove a little bit, I think he can really reestablish himself with the hype that he had following the Greats 2023 campaign. Don't forget about Ronan Kopp, and we talked a little bit earlier about Chris Campos as well. Casey is in the chat as well. He will be back next week full time, so you will be getting more and more shows next week, the regularly scheduled program. So with Casey, always does a great job. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to be back with him, doing some shows with him. He's down in the comment section. I don't know if he's still down in the comment section right now. Continuing to the concourse, Flat Life, Alex Freeland is looking really good right now. Yeah, he's got all the skill sets to be an everyday shortstop. He's got the defensive ability. That if you watch Alex Freeland, which that could be a question, especially if you just pay attention to some of the offensive numbers. You might not know of the defensive skills of him at the position. I have zero concerns with Alex Freeland playing shortstop. He can go out there. He makes some really solid plays. He has a little bit of positional versatility because they had to split some playing time early this season with him and Noah Miller at shortstop. So he got some time playing second base. I believe he can also play maybe a little bit of third base as well, can move around a little bit. Alex Freeland, especially when he stays in the zone, which there's been a little bit of an uptake with some of his strikeouts later in the season as he's gone up some levels. But at the beginning of the season, there's nobody better in minor league baseball than Alex Freeland at hitting when he was walking more than he was striking out. And his skill set continues to grow. It's going to be an adjustment for him, Oklahoma City, getting used to these pitching at the AAA level. Be patient with him. Allow him to learn this level. But all the skill set, the stolen bases as well. He's a 30 stolen base type of player. Switch hitter. All the reason to be excited about for a Alex Freeland. Let's see, Same Boy Smith, Miller and Bueller will be back next year going strong. The Walker on another team. I don't know what exactly he's going to go down with Walker Bueller. He's got a couple more starts this season to refine everything, and it's a statement portion for him, for his life, to try to find some sort of contract. This was supposed to be a big season for him, getting that big contract, Walker Bueller. and it's been a disappointment for him to this point. Things can still turn around, but it's been a struggle for Walker Buehler. He's going to be a free agent after this season. I don't know if the Dodgers re-sign him after this season. Paul C, game one, talking through some of the playoff postseason rotation. Game 1, Glasnow. Game 2, Yamamoto. Game 3, Jack Flaherty. Game 4, Kershaw on a short leash. Clayton Kershaw. Let's give props to Clayton Kershaw for what he was able to do against the St. Louis Cardinals yesterday. Went out there, looked great. If he continues to put on those type of performances, he will be part of this postseason rotation more than likely. What I will say is, one, you're still waiting and assuming the health with Yoshinobu Yamamoto, which I hope he gets healthy, and I hope that he finds his way back into this Dodgers rotation. I also find it with this conversation, the one name that pops up very evidently is Gavin Stone, who has been part of this Dodgers rotation all season and has done everything that the Dodgers have asked him to. He's looked really good. He's looked solid. It was a little bit of a struggle coming out after the All-Star break. Tonight, starting pitcher Gavin Stone, down this stretch run, he's going to be going out there and continuing to try to prove the world wrong, trying to prove that he deserves a spot during the postseason rotation, or at least a spot on the Dodgers postseason roster. I think with the way that he has pitched, he has earned that. And I think the Dodgers probably need, maybe in at least one of these series, to keep a long inning type of guy or a bulk inning type of pitcher. Perhaps you can figure out something where if it's like a game 4 type of situation where it's a Clayton Kershaw / Gavin Stone type piggyback type start, or have one of those guys in there just in case things go awry for a game. Similar to we saw during the games last season when it was Clayton Kershaw and Bobby Miller, and they both didn't last past 2 innings. And you needed some of those long inning guys, and they decided not to carry those during the first series because they didn't anticipate both of those guys going incredibly short, which meant that you had to rely on some of these other guys. They did have like an Emmett Sheehan that was able to eat a little bit of innings. I believe he was on the postseason roster last year. So I think you could potentially see a role for him, maybe in a similar role to what they were anticipating a River Ryan having. It's going to be a big stretch for Gavin Stone over the course of the next couple of weeks. He's done everything right. I believe that he can be part of this postseason rotation, and I believe that he has earned it. However, it's going to be, they need to bring up the best 13 pitchers that they believe are going to help them win during the postseason. Gavin Stone has been unbelievable. I continue to root, one of my favorite players on this Dodgers team and favorite players to watch growing up in this Dodgers system. I don't know how everything's going to work out with this postseason rotation. The next couple of weeks are going to be crucial. But the good thing is right now that the Dodgers do have some options. They even have some younger guys that have pitched really well for this Dodgers team, although I don't know if the Dodgers want to rely on some of those guys or if you'd be comfortable to rely on some of these guys. We're going to go through, get a couple of comments right here. See if there's any last comments before we sign off. Right now, Flat Life, let's see, how have the Dodgers not called up Cody Hosey to the show if he can play in majors third base? He does play major league level third base, hitting .292, 14 home runs, .852 OPS. At one point, I thought he was going to be our third baseman of the future. That's a really good question, and I think this conversation dates back to the decision for the Dodgers to go after a guy like a Kevin Biggio. And it dates back to why the Dodgers never called up an Andre Lipsius. I personally wish that the Dodgers relied more on their younger guys as opposed to finding guys off of the waiver wire and giving them chances, especially with these guys. With a Cody Hosey, with an Andre Lipsius, with a Ryan Ward, with a Drew Avans, with a lot of these guys that are at the Oklahoma City level. it can feel like a wasteland, especially when you're there year after year, when you're fighting, when you're striving, when you don't know when opportunity is going to arise. Which, with all of these guys, they don't know when the opportunity is going to strike. With Cody Hosey, he has put up a really solid season for the Oklahoma City Baseball Club. There were some signs that perhaps there could be life there, although a lot of people had given up for him as a prospect. He has gone out there and proven that he can hit AAA pitching, and he deserves an opportunity. This is where things like the Rule 5 draft are really crucial. With a Cody Hosey, who's at the AAA level, he is Rule 5 draft eligible. With this Dodgers team, now that Max Muncy is back, I don't think there's no role for Cody Hosey on this Dodgers team right now. Nothing against Cody Hosey, and all of this is for the benefit of Cody Hosey. I hope that he gets picked up during the Rule 5 draft during this upcoming season, because Max Muncy is under contract next season as well. I want Cody Hosey to get every opportunity to play at the big league level. The Dodgers decided to lean on some of the veteran presence like a Kevin Biggio to see if he could stick, or they kept around and continue to keep around a Kike Hernandez. There are opportunity costs, and this is something Casey and I talk about quite a bit, with each roster move that you make, with each guy that you bring in at the major league level. That's one less opportunity, less at-bats for some of these guys at the minor league level to be able to get that. And that is something to keep in mind during the course of the offseason when we're talking about what do the Dodgers do for the outfield next season. Do the Dodgers bring back a Teoscar Hernandez? Do you keep Mookie Betts in right field? That could limit some of your options for getting Dalton Rushing to be part of this Dodgers team. Or are you not even concerned about that, and you rather see Dalton Rushing be used in some type of trade package? If you bring in a Willy Adames and sign him to a long-term deal, does that mean that there's no future for an Alex Freeland at the shortstop position? What do you do with that? There are opportunity costs, and sometimes the opportunity cost is worth it for some of these guys. I don't think anybody's complaining, even though he's been struggling a little bit during the month of August. Shohei Ohtani is worth every single opportunity cost that he has because he's the best player in the game of baseball. I don't think there's anybody crying over the fact that you put Mookie Betts out in right field. He feels comfortable, and Mookie Betts is part of this Dodgers team. He's one of the best players in the game of baseball. For some of the other smaller, what might seem like more additional depth, there is opportunity cost for some of these younger guys to see what they have, and that unfortunately is far too often the case for these younger guys, which is why you continue to fight, you continue to strive for these guys to get their opportunities, and it's why you celebrate a guy like a Ben Casparius getting an opportunity, because for far too many players who might have the talent to be a major leaguer but never have been given the opportunity, for Ben Casparius, that's not his story. His story is going to be he at least was able to be part of the big league roster. He's going to have his name forever, be a Major League Baseball player once he makes his debut. It's going to be life-changing for him. So if you haven't checked out that video for that Casey has made, the hot take on Ben Casparius, be sure to check it out. The link is linked at the top of the chat right here. Let's see. Continuing through some of the comments right now. Nando390, thank you very much for joining us. We talked a little bit about Nick Ahmed and Andy Pages and the moves that they made, as well as the conversation for Dalton Rushing. And I think that's going to do it for this stream. Dodgers Dogs, part of the Dodgers Daily Network. First off, I want to thank you guys. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. It's been thought-provoking. It's been intense as far as some of the topics and conversations that we've had, gone back and forth. It was just me solo tonight. I want to give a shout out and big thank you for Casey for providing me with the opportunity continually to be able to do this. It's not something that I always have the time to, and certainly during the past week and a half so been busy on my end. Casey has some important stuff that he needs to take care of. He will be back next week as well. But I'm reminded every single time I've joined onto this stream, how exciting it is to be here and talk some Dodgers baseball. This team is still talented. This team still provides reason to talk, and you guys are the best fans that are out there. So I'm so grateful for you guys. Be sure to like this video. Be sure to check out the video on Ben Casparius before the game tonight. Link is in the comments section right now. It's going to be an exciting debut for him. It's going to be great for his family. It's going to be great for everybody involved within this Dodger organization. Another success story of somebody who at times you weren't sure if it was going to end up like this. He has found a way. He has made it to the show. I'm excited for Ben. I'm excited for this Dodgers organization. I'm excited for this Dodgers team. We've got a couple more weeks, minor league level. We've got some more opportunities for some teams fighting for postseason baseball. I will continue to be following along and will be at Dow Diamond during this upcoming week and be following on with Great Lakes, following on with Josue DePaula and everybody else on the Great Lakes Loon squad. And be giving some more reports on that. You should be seeing more content coming out. Hopefully I'll be able to do another live over the course of the next couple of days. If not, I will be back with you guys next Monday, do a little bit of recap of what I saw in Great Lakes, as well as talking a little bit more about the Dodgers and what is going on in the world of Dodgers. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us. Go Dodgers.